Now let's walk through the Campaigns tab, which is where you'll likely be spending most of your time and where all of your campaigns are housed within the AdWords interface. Inside the Campaigns tab, you have the navigation tree to your left and several sub-tabs to your right. Here, you can go back and forth between campaigns, ad groups, settings, ads, keywords, and networks. Regardless of what sub-tab you're in the upper right-hand corner, there's a Date Range tool. You can use this tool to change the date range of the data that is reported. In addition to some useful presets like this week or last 30 days, you can also apply custom date ranges here. A quick tip: always make sure that you're comparing apples to apples when looking at your data. You want to make comparisons over the same days of the week and the same number of days. Don't go comparing a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And make sure to account for things like holidays and seasonal changes that may skew your comparisons. On the Campaigns tab, you'll find information about each of your campaigns with summaries of things like clicks, impressions, click-through rate, average CPC, average position, and much more. This account has conversion tracking turned on, so you can also see columns for things like conversions and cost per conversion for each of your campaigns. Remember, at this level, all of these metrics are shown as aggregates for the entire campaign, and then summed up at the bottom of the table for an account-level total. The bar right below the tabs contains some options for different ways that you can arrange your data. The first option lets you toggle between which campaigns you're looking at. You can choose to view all campaigns, only the enabled campaigns, or all but deleted campaigns. It's important to know that in AdWords, a campaign is never actually deleted. It's just marked with a deleted status. The next option is your segment dropdown. Here, you have the option to segment your data based on things like network, or click type, or device, experiment, or by a specified amount of time. Here, we'll segment by day. So now we can see each day broken out into its own row. The next option is for your filters. Filters allow you to drill down and look at a specific subset of your data, which can be very helpful in uncovering insights. For example, you might want to take a look at only the data for situations where your ad was placed in a position lower in the results set. And note that you can cascade filters too. So maybe we want to only look at data where we paid more than $1 per click and the ad showed up in a low position. And filters become even more useful when you're looking at data at the keyword or ad group level, since there's a lot more data to sift through. Moving over to the right, we've got the ability to control which columns we want to look at in our table. Depending on what level of detail you're looking at, you'll have different options here. At the campaign level, we could choose to enable some competitive metrics like impression share by just checking the box. Note that we can also drag and drop columns around to reorder how they're displayed. If I wanted to see impressions before clicks, for example, just drag it to where you'd like it to be. The next icon brings up all of our graphing options. Here, we can choose what metric we want to graph, and we can even compare it against other metrics. For example, maybe we want to see impressions instead of clicks. And then we want to compare that with our average position. Or maybe we want to compare this week's impressions with last week's. We can do that by selecting Compare to Date Range. The last option on this bar gives us the option to download a report. Here, you can choose from a number of formats, including things like Excel and PDF, tab and comma separated, and even compressed formats. You can also set your segments here so that the reports you're downloading have the data that you're interested in reviewing or sharing. For example, if my boss wanted to see how my campaigns were doing based on user devices, I can just create a quick PDF with the device segment on. I can even schedule this report to be automatically generated and sent to all of the account users once a month. While we're still on the Campaigns sub-tab, underneath the graph I see a button to create a new campaign, which will take me through the new campaign setup process. We also have a change status function that lets you activate, pause, or delete items using the checkboxes next to the campaigns you'd like to change. See how easy it is to activate all my campaigns? Lastly, this is where we find our alerts and automation features. For now, just know that this is where they live. You'll find all of these general features on other subtabs as well, though the scope of what you're looking at will change a bit. So let's head over to the Ad Groups tab, where you'll see a lot of the same metrics that we saw at the campaign level, only this time it's just broken down to the individual ad groups. If I found that I had a poor performing campaign, I could drill into the specific ad groups that might be bringing that campaign down and start addressing the issues. Over on the Ads tab, we'll see the same sort of thing. Rather than looking at our performance metrics by campaign or ad group, now we're looking at these metrics for each of our different ad creatives. This time, we've got a new ad button, and we can edit our ads directly from the screen. But other than that, you can see that the interface is very similar. If we move to the Keywords tab, we're diving in even deeper. Here, we're looking at the data as it relates to each keyword, allowing you to make optimization decisions based on how your individual keywords are performing. Note that we still have the ability to do things like segment and filter and change the columns that we're viewing. Only now we have more granular levels of detail that we can look at. For example, I always like to enable the quality score column for my keywords. You've also got a few more options under the graph. By using the edit functions, you can make bulk changes to all of your keywords at once. You can use the edit in table mode, or you can even use a Google spreadsheet right in the interface. Another option that shows up in the Keywords subtab is the See Search Terms dropdown. This is where you can see what users were actually typing into Google that triggered your ads, and this is a fantastic place to look for negative keywords. If you're selling olive oil and someone typed in how to plant an olive tree, well, your broad match keyword bid on olive might have triggered your ad to show. But this is not a click that you want to pay for. They're not looking to buy olive oil. With the See Search Terms report, if you find a user's search query that you don't want your ads to show up for, you can just click the Add as Negative Keyword button, and AdWords will stop showing your ad for those search queries. You can also take a look at the More Actions dropdown, where you'll find things like the ability to test whether or not your ads are showing for your keywords in certain languages and locations. The next tab is the Networks tab, and this one is a little less overwhelming. Here, we're basically just breaking down our performance metrics by where our ads have been shown, on the search or on the display networks. You'll find a summary of search network data, and you'll also find all of your placements for your display campaigns and information on how they're performing here. Lastly, this is where you can manage your exclusions, which is how you tell Google what websites in the display network that you don't want your ads to show up in. There are a handful of additional tabs hidden inside a dropdown by default. Things like the Audiences, Ad Extensions, and Dimensions tabs are a little outside the scope of this video, but you should know that they're here for when you're ready to use them, and we'll be getting into them later in the course. The Campaigns tab is really the heart of the AdWords account. All of the information you need to set up, monitor, and make changes to your account is right here, and you'll find that this is where you spend most of your time.